A Grand Rapids, Michigan City Commission meeting ended abruptly Tuesday night due to demonstrators protesting the death of Patrick Lyoya. Lyoya was shot and killed by a police officer back on April 4th, and body cam footage was released last week. During the public comment portion of Tuesday's meeting, several people took to the podium to discuss the shooting, many using profanity. Grand Rapids Mayor Rosalind Bliss eventually closed public comment on the topic and later sent the meeting to recess. Many protesters then approached city commissioners to express their grievances about the handling of the Lyoya case, demanding the officer involved, Chris Schur, be arrested and fired. Emotions boiled over during the jury selection at the Nicholas Cruz sentencing on Tuesday. The entire pool of 70 potential jurors were dismissed after one juror started muttering curse words directed at Cruz. That got another juror upset, and a third juror started getting agitated. The remainder of the jurors also became agitated and started muttering. Broward County Circuit Court Judge Elizabeth Scherer called the group belligerent. He faces the possibility of the death penalty for his role in the Parkland shooting from 2018. The Supreme Court took up President Biden's efforts to shut down a Trump administration's program to restrict immigration at the southern border on Tuesday. The justices heard courtroom arguments on whether the Biden administration acted properly in trying to end the Remain in Mexico policy, formerly known as the Migrant Protection Protocols. It requires people seeking asylum at the southern border, mainly from Central and South America, to wait in Mexico while their claims are decided. From late January 2019 until Biden suspended the program, nearly 70,000 people were shuttled back to Mexico. Immediately after taking office, Biden began trying to end the program. In addition to the dangerous conditions along the border, he cited the difficulty immigrants faced in getting help from lawyers in the U.S. and the complications it produced in America's foreign policy dealings with Mexico. Members of the U.S. State Department are returning to Ukraine, a sign of the Biden administration's pledge of ongoing support to the country. This comes as Russia steps up its threats and attacks. NBC's Bree Jackson has more.
Ukrainian officials say a third mass grave was found in Mariupol and claim civilians were forced to dig it in exchange for food and water. The UN secretary says the violence must end.
I came to Moscow as a messenger of peace.
After his meeting with Vladimir Putin, the UN says Russia's president agreed in principle for the Red Cross to help evacuate civilians from the besieged steel plant in Mariupol. Russia is still ramping up its attacks and rhetoric, saying the risk of World War III is real if the West continues to supply weapons to Ukraine.
Специальной военной операции.
As soon as it ends up in Ukraine, these arms and hardware become legitimate goals and targets for our military.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin pressed allies to send even more military support and heavier weapons, despite Russia's warning.
It's dangerous, and any kind of rhetoric like that, I think is unhelpful.
On Capitol Hill, the Secretary of State urges Congress to keep the flow of arms and humanitarian aid going.
I have to tell you, I felt some pride in what the United States has done to support the Ukrainian government and its people, and an even firmer conviction that we must not let up.
Helping Ukraine win this war and making sure Russia does not have the means to start future conflicts. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.